Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors, of course, go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders, great millstone. Salutations to all the other Akim out there on highways and byways, pushing this truth and all honesty and sincerity across the four corners. This is Nama with the DC camp, and as you can see, uh, you know, this is something else that vexes my spirit. Now, of course, uh, these people are for various reasons. This is judgment against them. These people are out on the streets, but this wicked ass so called white man compounds things. All right. And it's as if he gets pleasure, he gets off on this shit. All right. And this is not just uh, me saying this, hey, they can't rest like the scripture says until they do these things like this. All right. This is just in their nature. It says Tennessee lawmakers close to passing bill that threatens felony penalties against homeless people who camp on public property. Where else are they fucking gonna go? All right, just saying. You got all these facilities, and this is the only to show you how wicked this country is. Other countries, especially over other Edomite countries, I'll give them that. They don't want the eyesore, so they'll make arrangements. But in America, they just don't give a fuck. All right. Not to mention you're already, well, go ahead, get your job, that pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Shit, they always like to say. All right. First, you're in that position. You're suffering from depression. Wherever you stay, you're constantly changing addresses. And something else, or you don't have an address at all. A lot of people don't like to stay in shelters for various reasons. One of which that's really uh, can be life threatening if you understand what I'm trying to say. All right. So they don't like that, and then you got these crooked ass people that are in charge of them. So they like to stay out, you know, in the open, in the woods, wherever. They don't want to deal with the bureaucracy. I'll put it that way. All right. But you got all these abandoned buildings that aren't necessarily death traps, but you spend money on things that, in other words, this place doesn't care about the people at all. Never has. Our circumstance in this country, that in and of itself should tell the world, and the world is paying attention now. All of a sudden, how about that? And these are things that we've tried to tell. Nobody will listen because, hey, they profited off of our misery. Let's just call it what it is. All right. So here, let's go ahead and get into it. As Tennessee lawmakers are close to sending Republican Governor Bill Lee a proposal that would threaten felony penalties against homeless people who camp on local public property, including in parks, and misdemeanors for camping around highways. Yeah, how about that? It says the Tennessee Senate voted 20 to 10 Wednesday to advance the bill, with 4 Republicans joining Democrats in opposition. The House already passed a version of the legislation last year. Both Republican dominated chambers need to hash out differences in what they approved. Opponents have said the legislation does nothing to help reduce homelessness. No, it doesn't. It's just making a way for people who already have nothing, all right, to get hemmed up in the criminal justice system, which is another reason why some people are in this position, because they did long stints in jail or prison and lost everything. All right, there's a whole list of reasons. All right, it says opponents have said the legislation does nothing to help reduce homelessness while potentially making it harder for homeless people to rise out of the extreme poverty if they have a felony on their records. All right, so as hard as it is for these people to get out of this situation already, you're going to compound the issue with putting a felony if they don't already have one on their record. It's just this vicious. This motherfucker, like, for those of you that can't realize that this motherfucker, the so-called white man, is the devil, if you can't see that by now, you just gone. All right, you really are for this place. All right, if you can't see what the fuck is going on here. All right, it says when we allow our legislators to turn those who are society's most beaten down into criminals. Hey, we've been saying that for how many centuries? All right. We reject the very thing that gives us the right to call ourselves civilized, which you never were. All right, that's something they went around the world talking about. Oh, we're so civilized, we're so smart. And look, well, the condition of this planet doesn't say that. The big reason why is you're not acting according. See, you use the Bible, our book, as a front, as a tool, as, you know, what's that expression about Greeks bearing gifts? And that's what you did, especially to the Israelite nations that you went around over here on this side of the world. You know, you're so pious, God-fearing. No, you just use that to get in the door. All right. And then what did you do? Show your true colors. Rape, robbery, murder, and all kinds of other foul things. Yeah, the real savage. All right. It says our capacity for compassion, for justice rooted in love for others rather than hate. All right. It says the Senate bill sponsor, Republican Senator Paul Bailey, said it would be left up to the local authorities whether to enforce the law. No. It shouldn't even be on the books. All right, he said he argued that the bill does not criminalize. He argued, let me finish it. He argued that the bill does not criminalize homelessness. Okay. Tennessee lawmakers close to passing bill that threatens felony penalties against. Then why is the bill even up in the? See how they do this double speak. This is the way this motherfucker operates. And I remember. For those of you who remember the movie Amistad, oh, what's the actor's name? The main character. Damn it. But there was a point, not the very, was it the very beginning? Where he's talking to, what's the actor that does all the Lincoln commercials for their SUVs, the cars. Oh, what is his name? Let me just look up the daggone. I hate to deviate from this, but you know, I don't want to lose my train of thought. Okay, what's that Edomite actor's name? He was in Time to Kill with Samuel L. Jackson. He was his lawyer. Let's see. Spell C. Start. Yeah, okay. All right, let's see. Full cast and crew. Yeah, it's been 25 years. Shit. Time just flies. All right. Cast. Damn, that's what I thought I was going. Here he is. Jamon Hunsu, I guess that's how you say it. But he played the central Matthew McConaughey. Okay, he played his lawyer, and he was talking to him when I was about to say. He said about the way you talk is what was his words? Yeah, I remember there's this big like bonfire and they were talking, and In other words, you're supposed to say what you mean and mean what you say, not all this double talk and all this other shit. And he said, how can you live like that? And this was them making the point, the difference in the cultures, and that remains today. The English language is it's a bastard language, and it leaves, it's ripe for being a, a liar's language, for lack of a better, But let's get some scriptures. I've gone too long. This is, like, wow, I didn't, this, Psalms, got to go there. This is who you're dealing with. It says, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. This is Psalms 10. Slack it. 10 and 2. The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. That's going to happen. All right. Psalms 7, 15 and 16. Psalms 9 and 16. All right. Tells you that all these traps, these snares that they've set up, they're going to eventually get caught up in them. All right. Let's see. Verse Psalms 10 and 8. The wicked in his pride doth. Oh no, I already read that. Verse 9. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. It's about the money, people. It's always been about the money. He don't give a shit about anything else. All right. This is, you can see how these so-called white people act. I watch some auction shows and things like this. So how much better to take this all away from them? They're a bunch of murderers and thieves and, like I said, savages. Verse 10, he lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. And that's just what he is doing here. All right. These people are already rock bottom. And it's like, now you're going to give them felonies? And you sending all this money across the water for these pieces of shit? And yet, look at, and you're just going to stick it to your own people here. Citizens wise. But for those of you that, hey, you want to make this your rest, hey, that's what you deserve. He keeps telling you this each and every day. He don't give a fuck about you, us. Verse 14, he croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones, going into what we've always said in the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus. Never trust your enemy. And as you go down from verse 10 to the end, it goes into this. He croucheth and humbleth himself. All right, this is the devil. He's going to pretend to be your friend, all up in your face. But in the meantime, what is he doing behind your back? He's looking to seek your, he wants your place. This devil, every time he sees Jake in a nice car and maybe got a house, there's an actual family with man and wife and children, he hates that shit. You can see about all this legislation, all this LGBT, whatever other Q, whatever else comes next. They're trying to get pedophilia legalized. He's showing you what he's actually about. And a lot of you still are not paying attention because you're caught up in all this shit that's meaningless. All these distractions, the sports teams and the games, and he's got something to distract you year round. All right. In the meantime, he's making moves behind the scenes that will affect everybody. Psalms 12:5. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite. And that's what this is. That's spite. These people have absolutely nothing. They just want to, for the most part, all right, because you got your clowns, you got your, your troublemakers and all that. But I'm just talking about in general. Here are people that are out on the streets, literally. And you're going, man. And again, thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to requite it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. And this is what our people, is what we're trying to tell them. But a lot of them in that predicament, they're still very carnal. All right. And they want something immediate. All right. The last thing a lot of them would probably do or want to do is listen to what we're trying to tell them. And again, at the top of this, I said, this is their judgment, I'm not saying a lot of them don't deserve to be there. Don't get me wrong. All right. But I'm talking about how it's handled by those that are in a position, all right, to do so. Psalms, let's see, it says, for the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith the Most High Yahweh. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him. And this is just nothing but Edomite, so-called white people's pride. All right. Pure and simple. They don't give a damn. But we see also that the curses are transferring, per Deuteronomy 30:7, onto them. Because you're seeing more and more Edomites out on the street. All right. Yes. Yes, you see a whole lot more of them out on the street in need. All right. Because this pandemic put the big squeeze on the middle class, so-called. And all these people that had small businesses, they're squeezed out. So you're seeing a lot more people at dollar stores, that probably said to themselves, I'll never be caught at a dollar store, things of that nature. Nothing is ever going to get done until the right people feel it. Nobody gives a shit about us. All right, those blacks, they like living like that. But now they're feeling it. You're seeing an uptick in all these shootings. What do you think is causing that? What do you think is behind that? It says state law broadly defines illegal camping as certain activities during overnight hours. They include putting up a tent or furniture, storing personal belongings or food, cooking, sleeping, or setting down something to sleep on, and starting a fire. Wow. Isn't that an apocrypha about things that are, what is that? Let me see if I can find it real quick. The things that are needed. Let's see, is that, I think that's Sirach. Hold on here. Is that around 40? Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Well, I'll read this. This is a good one. Because it says, my son, lead not a beggar's life, for better is it to die than to beg. This is Sirach 40 and 28. It says, 29, the life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life, for he polluteth himself with other men's meat, but a wise man well nurtured will beware thereof. All right. Because you open yourself to be what? Compromised. All right. those gifts, as it says in Ecclesiastes 7:7, Exodus 23:8. Uh, you feel obligated to a person. All right. 30. Begging is sweet in the mouth of the shameless, but in his belly shall burn a fire. That's not what I was looking for, but those are all right. Let's see. I didn't want to take too long on this. Let's see. These things that are, the basics that are needed. Flour, water. Oh man, let's see. Well, let me put that in there. I don't think it's gonna. Let's see. Yeah, it took. Let's see. It's a long shot, but let's try this. Long shot, but yeah, I mean, these people's lives are. Yeah, it's not gonna do it. That coming. Let's see. It might have been. Let's see. I think is it 43. Wait a minute. Let's see. And this is what this devil is. I cannot see. That's what this devil is doing now, because that's why he's going for the food. Why? Because hunger is a great motivator at the end of the day. You can take away all these material things. All right. Yeah, people be mad, but no, he's going after what you need to survive as a living organism. All right. Dirty bastard. Oh man. I can't believe. Let's see. Here it is. Wow. I went right past it evidently. This is Sirach 39 and 26. I have to remember. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat. I didn't put E on the end of it. I had to. Honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. All these things are for good to the godly. So to the sinners they are turned into evil. And you'll see a lot of that in those camps. That's why you get a lot of complaints, because people are petty. All right. It exposes a lot. All right. Test your character when you get to that level. All right. Things are good. You can pretend when you got, your nice looking car, you got your house and your picket fence, everything's going good, and that's another scripture. You have to remember how it was if you escaped that, all right, just as the opposite, all right. You got to remember those good times, you keep that, keep a level head, all right. It says arrest on local public property would have to be preceded by a warning at least 24 hours earlier. Its items used to camp could be confiscated by authorities for 90 days or longer if they are needed for evidence in a criminal case. So, especially if you're out there in the winter, I mean, we got to get out of here, And this is an eyesore for sure, but where else are these people going to go? Again, you're sending all this money to all these other people for what? The bill also introduces a Class C misdemeanor punishable by a $50 fine, which could be waived in community service for camping along highways, including under bridges like you see here, or overpasses, which you see here, or within an underpass. Violations in those locations will not be limited to overnight hours under the bill. Authorities would need to first offer a warning for people in violation. Wow, it says the bill passed by the House goes further. It would add soliciting on or near. I knew that was probably going to get it work its way in there. On or near a highway to the new misdemeanor violation. Bailey, the Senate bill sponsor, said lots of churches testified against the bill, but said he thought they would have open arms to welcome them in if a rescue mission couldn't take them. I don't have the answer for homelessness, Bailey said. Those that oppose this legislation, they don't have all the answers for homelessness. Those that support this legislation, they don't have all the answers for homelessness. All right. So there you have it. This wicked ass devil. I mean, what you gonna do? You know, this place has got to go. That's that's the only answer. Yes, it's gonna be a hard transition, but it'll be worth it to get this motherfucker's foot off of your neck, guaranteed. All right. But love you. A lot of you love this place because you're wicked like they're wicked. That's just the bottom line. Hey, so with that, hey, shalom, shalom.